Hey there, fellow Reddit enthusiasts. If you love diving into intriguing Reddit stories, you'll want to stick around till the end. We've got a captivating one lined up for you today. For this video, we're delving into the fascinating world of relationships, so buckle up for a deep dive into some compelling stories. I, 29, think that my girlfriend, 26F, is only with me because she can't be with her best friend, 26M. Should I just end the relationship? I've been with my girlfriend, Jordan, for a little over 2 years. We live together, and we have 2 cats. Up until this weekend, I genuinely thought everything was perfect in our relationship, which I know is what everyone says in these posts, but I really was thinking that I was going to ask her to marry me sometime in the next year. We don't ever get into arguments. Jordan is very sweet and easygoing, and normally we just mesh well on everything. Honestly, if everything in our relationship hadn't been so good up until now, I probably would have just broken up with her this weekend. But because things have truly been so perfect, I'm not sure if maybe I'm jumping to the wrong conclusion about what to do because my feelings got hurt. The other person who's important in this story is Jordan's friend Mark. She's known Mark for their whole lives because they both grew up in the same small religious community. Jordan isn't part of that religion anymore. She decided to leave the church when she was, I think, 19 and moved to the state that we live in now. Mark still is in the religion and apparently takes it really seriously. I'm told he now works for the church back in Jordan's hometown. Also, as far as I know, Mark is the only person from the religious community that Jordan still talks to besides her parents, which I'm mentioning because I now think it could be a red flag. So on Saturday, I met Mark for the first time because he was in our city, and Jordan wanted us all to have dinner together. At this point, I want to say, I will admit that when we were first dating and I found out that Jordan had a best friend who was a guy, I didn't really like it, especially because it seemed like they were on FaceTime with each other a lot. But since it was a childhood friend and they mostly didn't see each other in person, I just trusted Jordan that Mark was only a friend and didn't let it bother me, and eventually I got over it. So when we were going to dinner, I wasn't jealous or suspicious of Mark at all. If anything, I was somewhat excited to finally be meeting him, since I've been hearing about him for 2 years. But then the way Jordan and Mark acted at dinner is what convinced me that there's something going on there other than just being best friends. I honestly don't even know how to describe it, except to say that I've never seen 2 people act more obviously like they were in love with each other. They literally would not stop touching each other. They were constantly touching each other's arms and shoulders, and at some points they were actually even holding hands. They completely left me out of the conversation and were laughing about inside jokes. And every time they'd laugh, they'd do this thing where they put their foreheads together, or that was when they'd be holding hands. And then also they were just looking at each other in a way that I didn't feel comfortable with at all. It was honestly even worse than the touching. It just wasn't how anyone would look at somebody they're supposedly just friends with. I'm 100% sure that every stranger looking at our table thought that Jordan and Mark were the couple and that I was her brother or something. I felt like a third wheel the whole time, and Jordan didn't even notice how awkward she was making it for me because she was way too focused on Mark and all the attention she was getting from him. And that's really not like Jordan at all. Usually she's a lot more considerate and would notice immediately if I wasn't having a good time or if she was accidentally being rude and excluding someone at the table. So it was genuinely really jarring to be sitting there with her and Mark and basically feeling like I didn't know my girlfriend at all. It was like he turned her into a completely different person who didn't even care that I was alive. So finally at one point when Jordan got up to go to the bathroom, I just said to Mark, "So are you into my girl or what's going on here?" Mark, "Nothing's going on at all. That ship sailed a long time ago." Me, "What does that mean? Did you guys date at some point?" Mark, "No, we never did." And then when she left the church, we both knew it meant that we were never going to. And we've accepted being in each other's lives as friends. There's nothing else going on at all. Me, "That makes it sound like the only reason you're not together is because she left the church." And all Mark did was shrug. Me, "Well, what if she came back to the church? Would you marry her?" Mark, "Oh, she's not going to do that. You might as well ask what would happen if a bicycle had 6 tires. And so then when Jordan came back to the table, Mark said to her, "OP wants to know if we'd be married if you weren't a godless heathen." Jordan, "Why, did you 2 call your mom while I was gone?" And then she and Mark both just laughed about it and changed the subject. So because of dinner and that conversation and everything else that I've written about in this post, I really feel like Jordan and Mark are in love with each other, and not just best friends like they say. And the only reason they aren't together is because they can't compromise about their religion. I think Jordan thinks that because she's okay with that decision, she expects me to be okay with being her second choice. And in the meantime, she's actually secretly wanting to be with Mark. So that makes me think that I should probably obviously just have self-respect and break up with her, because I shouldn't be in a relationship with someone who would rather be with somebody else. But then the problem for me is that our relationship has been so perfect, and Jordan has always treated me so well except for this one night. The only time she's ever acted like this was on the one occasion that Mark was around in person. Normally, even when she's talking to him all the time, she's never made me feel this way. So on the one hand, I'm wondering if maybe it doesn't matter what Jordan's feelings are for Mark. As long as he isn't going to be around, it doesn't actually seem to affect our relationship. So maybe I just need to cool off and go back to trusting her, that they are indeed only friends even if it seems to be true that they have complicated feelings for each other? Or should I just end things? Well, look who stumbled into a real-life episode of Love Triangle Awkward Dinner Edition. Your girlfriend and her so-called best friend seem to have a friendship so close it's practically sitting on each other's laps. First of all, major kudos for keeping your cool during that dinner drama. It's like you entered a bizarre alternate universe where hand-holding and forehead touching became the standard friendship protocol. Did you accidentally land on the set of a romantic indie film? As for Mark's shrug-off and the whole ship sailed comment, it's a classic, let's keep things vague and confusing move. Bravo to you for asking the hard questions. I mean, asking if he'd marry her if she went back to church? Genius. That's some next-level investigative journalism right there. Now, onto the relationship dilemma. The chemistry may be fizzling between you and Jordan thanks to the Mark-shaped third wheel, but here's a thought. Maybe this was just a one-time weirdness. A glitch in the matrix of an otherwise perfect relationship. Take a breath, my friend. 2 years of bliss can't be tossed out the window because of one peculiar dinner date. Communicate with Jordan, lay it all out on the table, minus the forehead touching. Express how that dinner made you feel and let her explain herself. It could be a misunderstanding, an alien possession, or just a particularly clingy phase. Stay tuned because in the upcoming story update, we'll be incorporating more of your opinions. Your perspectives shape the narrative, so keep those comments flowing. Update, I, 29 mem, think that my girlfriend 26F is only with me because she can't be with her best friend, 26 mem. Should I just end the relationship? I talked to Jordan on Wednesday night. I do still think I was right to be upset about what I saw happening at dinner on Saturday, and Jordan didn't disagree with me about that. But I think I did jump to the wrong conclusion, that it meant that she secretly actually wanted to be with Mark more than she wants to be with me. Now that we've talked it out, I don't think there's a reason to end what's otherwise the best relationship I've ever had, and I'm glad that I didn't just immediately trust my instincts because there was more going on with the situation that I didn't really understand that Jordan has since told me. And now I do feel like she can be given some grace in this situation, assuming nothing like this ever happens again. So thanks for the advice, especially for everyone who told me to just talk to her before I made a big decision. So when we talked, I decided to take the main piece of advice that I got from everyone and start by telling Jordan that my feelings were hurt by the way she treated me at dinner with Mark, and then see how the conversation went from there. It turned into a very long talk, so I don't want to try to remember exact quotes and get them wrong, but here are the important things. I repeated to Jordan some of what I wrote in the post and said that I felt excluded by her and Mark, especially because they were being overly touchy-feely with each other, to the point where it made me uncomfortable. Jordan seemed surprised, like she didn't even notice that she and Mark were touching each other that much. But then she thought about it and said that I was right and apologized. She said that Mark is always really touchy with everybody, and not just her, I asked. And so she didn't even think about it, but that she wished I would have said something at the time because she didn't realize they were being that obnoxious. I said that was part of what bothered me, because I thought that normally she would have noticed something like that. But she was acting so different around Mark and not paying any attention to anything else, including how I was feeling, that it was honestly just made me question which one of us she cared about more, or if she cared about him as more than just a friend. Jordan apologized more and said that she could understand why it would look that way to me, but that she loves me and cares more about me than anyone else in the world, and that she didn't mean to act like that or make me feel that way. She said that she was trying to not make Mark feel like a third wheel because of being a single guy out with a couple, but obviously it backfired and just made me feel like the third wheel instead, which wasn't what she wanted to do either. After that, Jordan explained a lot to me about her history with Mark, and basically as she explained it, she said that she fully admits she cares about him as more than just a normal friend, but she says that it's not in a romantic way. She said that's why she always specifically refers to him as her best friend, and not just as her friend, and said that she would use the phrase, "he's like my brother," if it weren't for the fact that she once had an actual brother, RIP, so she won't use that phrasing for anyone else. According to Jordan, the main thing that happened to make her and Mark so close was that when she was 17, she tried to kill herself, and that was actually when everyone else in the community stopped talking to her, and Mark was the only person who didn't. For the next couple of years until she moved, he was literally her only friend, and she said that he checked on her every single day to make sure she stayed alive, which is also when they got into the habit of talking on the phone so much. And also apparently during this time, Mark's parents thought they were dating and made a big deal about how they shouldn't be, and that's why she made that remark during dinner, apparently calling Jordan a godless heathen, is something that Mark's mom said. I did tell Jordan that Mark basically said to me that he thought the two of them would be married if she had stayed in the church, and I asked her if she thinks that maybe Mark is in love with her even if she doesn't feel the same way. She said definitely not, and I don't think she was being dishonest. I really don't agree with her, but I think she genuinely believes that Mark isn't into her in any way apart from friendship. Her opinion of the situation is that she also thinks she and Mark would eventually have gotten married if she had never left the church or moved. But from her perspective, it would have been more because of peer pressure than anything else, and she doesn't think it would necessarily have been a good thing. She thinks Mark was just being honest about that, and that possibly from his perspective, he thinks he and Jordan would have made a good couple. But he's probably thinking that because he's just assuming that in that scenario she'd be the perfect church wife, so there's no reason why they wouldn't be a good couple. But then the big thing that happened at the end of the conversation is that Jordan told me that Mark is coming back through our city on his way home from this trip, and so she was going to invite him to hang out with the two of us again, but she said that if I'm going to be uncomfortable with him around, then she won't ask him. A lot of people were saying that if she didn't offer to cut contact with him or to cut down on contact with him, it meant that she valued him over me. So the fact that she brought up on her own that she wouldn't invite him to dinner with us again because I didn't like it seemed like a really good sign to me. Based on everything else that she said, I do understand why she didn't offer to totally stop being friends with him, and I wouldn't expect her to after what she told me about what happened when she was a teenager. So now I'm deciding to take Jordan's word for it, that although she and Mark are weirdly close, it's for the reasons that she explained to me and not because she's in love with him. I think the fact that she was immediately apologetic instead of defensive was good, and the way she explained everything did make sense to me. I don't necessarily trust Mark, but I do think I can trust Jordan. But I am going to watch and see if it seems like she's still talking to him as much as she used to, or if anything changes or sounds different. I'm not going to be controlling and tell her that she can't talk to him or that she has to talk to him less, but I want to see if me talking to her about all of this causes her to act any differently at all. I'm kind of thinking she might realize on her own that the way Mark acts towards her actually does seem like he likes her, as more than a friend now that I've brought it up, but I don't know. It could be that things just go back to exactly the way they were before, and I won't know if anything has actually changed until the next time Mark is around in person, but I don't think that's something I should keep worrying about before it happens. The plot thickens, but it seems like you've avoided an immediate breakup cliffhanger. Bravo. Firstly, major props for initiating that heart-to-heart conversation with Jordan. The way you approached it was like a master detective unraveling a mystery. Smooth, assertive, and not afraid to ask the tough questions. Poirot would be proud. Now, on to Jordan's revelations. A 17-year-old Jordan attempting to navigate the storm of life. Mark being the steadfast friend through thick and thin. It's like a teen drama on steroids. No wonder they're close. Mark's mom calling her a godless heathen? Classic sitcom material. But let's hope they don't bring that up at the family reunion. Jordan acknowledging your feelings and apologizing is a positive sign. It's like the character development arc in a good sitcom episode. Growth, realization, and a heartfelt apology rolled into one. The fact that she volunteered not to invite Mark for future hangouts is a thoughtful gesture. It's like she's saying, I choose you over potentially awkward dinners. A sitcom finale move, resolving the immediate conflict while leaving room for future plot twists. But, and it's a big but, keep an eye on the narrative. Like a cunning detective, you've wisely decided to observe how things unfold. Sherlock Holmes would be proud. If the Mark Jordan saga continues to be a weirdly close friendship without crossing any boundaries, then perhaps this was just a quirky subplot in your relationship sitcom. Now, let's shift our focus to the comments section and see what our fantastic community has to say about this. Your insights always add an extra layer to the conversation. User signal Blackberry 326. Holding hands with your opposite sex friend and pushing your foreheads together in front of your monogamous partner is wild, but you do you, homie. User and Kit 1000 replies, yeah, even I was like, UTF. But it's not outside the realm of possibility that she's just being friendly and he's deeply in love with her still. I have known many circumstances where the girl thinks the guy is just being friendly and the guy is just trying to smash. It's possible, but I would still be suspicious OP. Do your due diligence and dig up whatever you can. User Nick Tanolis, all I can say is you definitely cannot trust Mark given what he said to you. At a minimum, there is something there, and I find it hard to believe she isn't aware of it on some level. But if she's willing to cut him out, then it at least shows she recognizes that this isn't right. Good luck. Something tells me this isn't going away. You may find out just how much growth she has gone through, and I hope it's as much as you think. All right, folks, it's time to shift gears and dive into our next compelling story. Buckle up for another journey into the unexpected twists of Reddit tales. Accidentally said, I love you, X's name, to my M24GF, F24. Okay, so to keep things brief, me and this girl have been on and off for about a year. I love her a lot, and when I choose to fully commit myself and fall for someone, I don't give up at the first sign of trouble. I'm only posting this here because to my knowledge, we are still in a relationship. We have been on and off because she thinks that I still have feelings for my ex-girlfriend. I've pleaded with her so much that I don't talk to my ex, I don't think about my ex at all, it's over and done with. This has caused a lot of problems for us in the past, but I just don't know how to prove that I moved on, besides being fully committed and active in my new relationship. We got together again sometime in September, and besides a couple bumps in the road, things were going great. I felt like she was really committing and putting in effort, and to say the least, I was deeply in love and just happy. Then one day, as we're talking on the phone as we usually do, the worst thing I could have possibly said came out of my mouth. I was distracted while talking, and accidentally said, "I love you," ex's name. I was horrified and immediately apologized and told her it was an accident. She didn't say a word. She just went silent for a good while, then hung up. After that, she immediately hung up and deleted me off Snapchat, Insta, turned off her location on iMessage. A couple things to know. My ex was my first real relationship, and we were together for 3 years. I ended things with her. The last time I spoke to her was in January when she randomly showed up to my house with some of my mail. I haven't thought about her for a while, but on Sunday morning, the day of the call, I was at my mom's and she was asking me if I could ask my ex to send the family photos my ex took of my family a couple years ago. I told my mom that I'm sorry, but that's not possible, as me and ex don't talk and have each other blocked on most things. I'm not using that as an excuse for saying what I said, but I just don't know why her name slipped out like that. Another thing to know is that me and this girl have been on and off for a while, and this isn't the first time she's deleted me off stuff. Her whole thing is that she finds it difficult to trust. She hasn't talked to me in 5 days, and I dropped off an apology letter with some flowers at her house yesterday. As far as relationships go, can you get past a mistake like this? First things first, oopsie daisy. I love you, ex's name, is the relationship equivalent of a banana peel slip. Classic mix-up, right? We've all been there. Okay, maybe not with the exact words, but close enough. It's like when you mean to text your friend and accidentally send a spicy meme to your boss. Awkwardness level, expert. Now let's unpack this accidental verbal faux pas. The timing couldn't have been worse. The moment you accidentally summon the ghost of relationships past, your current flame goes radio silent. It's like a soap opera cliffhanger, leaving us all wondering, will she forgive the slip of the tongue, or are we in for a dramatic breakup scene? Your relationship, with its on-again, off-again dance, is a roller coaster of emotions. Trust issues, ex drama, and accidental love declarations. Sounds like a Netflix original series. Can you get past a mistake like this? Well, stranger things have happened in the world of romance, haven't they? Now, your move with the apology letter and flowers? A classic rom-com gesture. Picture this, a montage of heartfelt gestures set to a quirky indie pop soundtrack. Will it work? Time will tell, my friend. In the grand theater of love, plot twists are inevitable. But here's the thing. Everyone loves a good comeback story. Relationships are like sitcoms, full of unexpected turns, comedic errors, and the occasional heartfelt apology. It's that time again. We're transitioning to the community comments. Keep those thoughts coming, and let's make this discussion even more interesting. User, so much more eagle. Sorry, dude. I think this is over for good. She was already insecure about your ex and you not being over her. Did she have reason to think that way before the I lie ex incident? This confirmed everything for her, even if it was an honest mistake. If you did get back together, which probably won't happen, I doubt she'd be able to let it go. This will never not be an issue between you. You guys weren't stable to begin with. It's probably for the best. User Reclaire replies, this is the best answer. It could absolutely be an honest mistake. It could also be because he is actually not over his ex. Only OP really knows for sure. But it doesn't matter. She's already insecure that he's not over his ex and they've been off and on. If I was her, I'd leave. She's never going to be able to get over that fear that Op secretly wants his ex back. This relationship needs to be over. User MothGirl7 also replies, only thing worse than this situation would be Ross Geller's similar name mix-up. For those of you that haven't seen Friends, Ross says the wrong name at the altar during his wedding. The ex was in the room and the bride very clearly was worried about his relationship with her beforehand. Let's jump into our next story. And don't forget to hit that like button if you're as excited as I am to explore what comes next. How do I, 28F, move forward from a disappointing proposal from my fiancé, M27? My fiancé and I have been together for 8 years. As a whole, we have a great stable relationship, but I can't move past my constant disappointment from his proposal. I didn't receive a "this is why I love you" speech or a grand gesture of asking me to marry him. He never even got down on one knee. Not that it's the end of the world, but it's just painting the picture. It was the last day of our camping trip that I really thought he was going to propose during. That evening, he only wanted to go fishing, so I sat in my kayak probably 7F'd away and cried to myself for over an hour that it wasn't going to happen, since he didn't propose at any beautiful hiking viewpoints or sunsets through the week and we were leaving in the morning. When we brought the kayaks in after fishing until dark, he went to the truck, came back and handed me a ring box, saying, "This should make you happy. I booked the same campsite on the same lake on the same day this year," and hinted over and over again that he could make it up to me. He did not even acknowledge the anniversary of our engagement. We are to get married in August, but I can't move forward from this. I cry when friends get beautiful engagements. I cry watching rom-coms. I feel nothing but disappointment that I will never experience the gesture of love I dreamed about my whole life. Anytime we have a disagreement, or I feel unwanted by him, I am just reminded of the disappointment I feel in regards to the proposal. I don't even enjoy looking at my beautiful ring because it doesn't bring me a happy memory. This feeling is clouding how I feel about him, even though he has never treated me poorly and is my best friend. I don't want to ruin my relationship over this, but I don't know how to move on. He said he can't change how things happened, which is true, but it's been over a year and I can't seem to move past my disappointment. Now, let's address the proposal that wasn't quite the grand spectacle you had envisioned. It's like expecting a 5-star Michelin meal and getting a microwave dinner. Disappointment? Absolutely. But hey, at least he didn't pull out a fish and propose with that, right? Silver linings. Your engagement story sounds like a quirky indie film, where the lead character hands the other a ring box as if it's a casual Tuesday. It lacks the Hollywood romance, sure, but it's got character, like an unexpected plot twist that leaves the audience saying, well, that's different. Now, about the anniversary hints and the repeated campsite booking. Your fiancé seems to be missing the rom-com script you've laid out. It's like watching someone trying to navigate a maze blindfolded. You know they're trying, but it's not quite hitting the mark. Yet, here's the thing. Relationships aren't always the fairy tales we imagine. Sometimes they're more like a sitcom with a touch of absurdity. Your fiancé might be fumbling through the romantic. But is he your best friend? Absolutely. Is he treating you poorly? Nope. Is your engagement tale unique? Without a doubt. You're in the director's chair of your relationship. Sure, your engagement scene might not have been a blockbuster, but it's just a chapter, not the entire story. Life is an unpredictable rom-com, and maybe, just maybe, the best part of your story is yet to come. So wipe those tears, embrace the quirks, and find the humor in the unexpected. Your engagement might not have been the grand finale, but who knows what surprises the next act holds. Here's to hoping it's filled with laughter and love. Before we dive into the next story, let's take a moment to check out what you, our incredible audience, are saying in the comments. Your opinions truly matter. User Disastrous, our ad 8561. This should make you happy is not a proposal at all. You would be well within your rights to give it back until he actually asks you to marry him. Honestly, he doesn't really sound like he likes you that much. Sad to say, your resent to him will most likely continue to grow. Don't get married until this is resolved. User Prestigious Trouble 48 replies, please do this. Give the ring back and tell him if he actually proposes to you with the words, will you marry me? And a list of reasons why he is asking the you will say yes. If he hasn't come up with a real proposal within 6 months, then you will know it's over and you really mean nothing to him. So you will pack your bags and leave. User Street Passage Aldem151 also replies, wow, the fact that it would need to come to this is enough to end it. I've done this way too many times. Accept terrible behavior over and over and base their love on a single grand gesture. Even if they finally give you what you want, the fact that you had to beg for it is just fucking sad and pathetic. It shows how little you think of yourself and what you deserve. Honestly, he can't fix this with a better proposal. This man does not like her and he is doing everything he can to show her this without saying anything. If he does give her a grand proposal, that doesn't mean he has improved at all. In fact, he probably will revert back to his uncaring self in a week or two. Don't waste 6 months of your life waiting for something that isn't even worth it. We've had some great discussions, and now it's time to move on to our next intriguing story. Get ready for more twists, turns, and unexpected revelations. Just found sexts on my 32M wife's 30F phone, but not sure if she is cheating. I don't even know where to start. I came home from work early because I felt like vomiting all day after I found out this morning, and I couldn't be around people anymore. My wife and I both use Reddit, and usually it's no harm, things like Ada, etc., and we often show each other or read off funny things we find. Last night, we're sitting on the couch and I'm playing a game and I see she's on Reddit, but typing sometimes and smiling. I'm all like, babe, what are you posting? And she shows me a random post that's not her, but then goes to the bathroom saying she's having stomach issues after a couple min with her phone and stays there for a while. It's pretty clear she's typing and not wanting me to see, but I try not to think too much on it. We trust each other, and I don't want to invade her privacy. She doesn't come back to the couch and says she's going to bed, very early for her. And I join her later and see she's still occasionally looking at her phone, but I'm exhausted and pass out. When I wake up today, I have the strangest feeling inside me, like I know something is horribly wrong and it has to do with last night. I really shouldn't have done this when I had this presentation at work today, but I can't help it. When she's in the shower, I snoop on her phone. I don't have much time, but I look on her Reddit account. Turns out she has a couple throwaway accounts where she's all up sexting with guys. I am almost throwing up typing this. It's so disgusting. I see pics, her explicit fantasies, etc., etc. Like seriously, WTF? Is this real? I don't think she knows these people judging by the age of the messages. I never expected this from the mother of my kids in a million years. In some way, this feels worse than if she were sexting with a friend or coworker. Like, how does she get off on people that she doesn't even know? Am I that shitty of a husband where she needs attention on this low level? Where me telling her she's beautiful and making love to her in person isn't enough and she needs it from strangers? It's not like we don't have an active sex life. It's not like we're not kinky and engaging in things that give her pleasure. I keep thinking this is all a dream. I didn't have much time to snoop, but I took pics of some of the worst texts with my phone. I went into her text and email, but didn't see anything. I didn't have much time to look though, because she was done with the shower. I was numb and didn't confront her. I basically just left for work and yelled I was late and that's it. Whereas we usually get our kids ready together, I say a proper goodbye. Now I've been sitting at home alone for the past hour not knowing what to do. I know the smart thing is to wait to snoop more before I confront her, but I don't think I have the patience for it. I also am not even sure what to do about this. Is this actually cheating for real? Is there any hope that this meant nothing to her and she can stop? Fuck. I don't even know if I would have the strength to leave her if she can't. What are the chances that random sex are it and she hasn't ever met up with anyone in person? I'm so disgusted right now. Oh, the modern day drama of digital indiscretions and relationships. It's like Shakespearean tragedy meets 21st century tech, with a touch of, why can't people just communicate without dragging strangers into it? Your wife's escapade into the world of Reddit sex is like a plot twist you never saw coming. There you are, living a semblance of a normal life, and then bam, pics and explicit fantasies infiltrate your reality. It's the kind of narrative that could use a script doctor, or at the very least a content warning. In the grand tradition of soap operas, you've got the classic elements: betrayal, secrets, and enough emotional turmoil to fill a season finale. The way she tried to downplay it, labeling it as harmless validation, is like saying reality TV is real. Sure, Yan. But here's the thing. Behind every soap opera is a chance for redemption. Your wife, with her troubled past and apparent need for validation, is a complex character in this narrative. She's remorseful, she's promised change, and she's willing to go the extra mile to save the relationship. Now, you've got counseling on the horizon, the symbolic entrance of the wise mentor to guide the protagonist through their struggles. It's like the Avengers assembling, but for relationships. As for you, the protagonist in this tale of modern love, take your time, feel the emotions, navigate the plot twists, and remember, even the darkest nights have dawn. This isn't the end credits. It's a turning point in the story. The story isn't over yet. In our next update, we're weaving in more of your opinions and reactions. Your voices are an integral part of the storytelling process. I thought my 32-amped relationship with my wife, 30F, had a chance after discovering some, but it was actually the tip of the iceberg. In brief, I had a gut feeling and found some sex with random Reddit men on my wife's phone. She confessed and seemingly gave me full transparency going forward, saying she only wanted validation. She said she has never met up with anyone in real life and swore there was nothing more. It hurt like hell, but I accepted her apologizes and decided to try marriage counseling. Since then, I hadn't been able to convince myself that it was all. I feel now dumb, but I only since discovered that you can see recently deleted texts and pics, which I didn't check before in my snooping. So last night when I stayed awake, ruminating on it once again, I looked in my wife's phone one last time in the recently deleted texts. Well, I'm sure a lot of you will berate me for being so naive. I found with her fucking coworker, someone I've hung out with several times, who's been to our house with his wife and kid. I found messages indicating that they have met up in my past for sex at his house while his wife is working and kid at school, but she most recently told him they'll have to take a break for a bit, apparently since she got caught sexting. I found a couple sexy pics my wife sent him of her body. I can't get his words out of my head. Can't wait to lick you again. You get me so hard, I'm going to come all over your next time. I'm absolutely horrified, and I'm done. She played me for a fool, swearing up and down that she never physically stepped out. I haven't told her I know yet. My heart is breaking for our kids who will now grow up in a broken home. I truly thought we had the most perfect life a couple weeks ago. I feel like I'm going to break, but I decided not to tell her until I meet with some lawyers this week. I already took pics of the evidence, but I'm in a no-fault state, so I don't know if it's worth anything. I'll follow their advice on what to do. I'm also going to call my brother and see if he can come into town and stay with me for a few days when shit hits the fan. I'm going to try to get her to leave the house, move out, but not sure how. I also want to confront the bastard who's fucking my wife at their work or in front of his wife, but I won't give in to my revenge fantasies yet. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. First, she's sending spicy texts to strangers on Reddit, and you're thinking, okay, we can work through this. It's just the virtual world, right? But no, life decided to throw in a plot twist that could make a soap opera writer say, that's too much drama. Your wife's coworker, the one who's been to your house for playdates, is now part of this twisted narrative. Forget Shakespeare. This is more like a scandalous episode of a reality TV show. You had the shock of your life with those sexts. I mean, seriously, who knew Reddit could be the setting for such thrilling drama? But now, with a coworker in the mix, it's like upgrading from a soap opera to a psychological thriller. The revenge fantasies are knocking on the door. But hold that thought. While it might seem tempting to unleash your inner superhero and confront the coworker, maybe let the lawyers handle the legal jargon first. Your brother's visit could be the moral support you need. After all, every good protagonist needs a sidekick. And yes, the broken home scenario is a tough pill to swallow. But remember, sometimes the sequel is even better than the original. Life is one unpredictable script, and you're the lead actor. Our community is a treasure trove of insights. So let's take a moment to dive into the comments before we immerse ourselves in the next intriguing story. User Paula's plug. Make sure you tell that guy's wife that he has been cheating on her too and show her proof. You'll get through this, man. Most important thing right now is your children, and don't let her manipulate you into staying with her. User Throw OP replies, I'll plan on telling the wife but want to wait until I meet with the lawyer so that they don't suspect I know. Both me and my wife make good income, and I don't want her to start doing shady shit with our money if she suspects it's over. User Paula's plug replies back to OP, so did she text him that they have to stop meeting after you found out about her? Didn't you have access to her phone at that stage? And did you not see the text? Or did she just text him that while she had the phone and you were away, then soon deleted it? OP Throw Way replies, they sent texts back and forth after I confronted her about the online cheating last week. And in those, she said that she couldn't make it to his house this week like they had planned on doing. But she sent a pic to give him some anticipation for later. Those are the texts she deleted, along with others before this last week. Good thing she didn't know about the deleted messages folder either. Or bad thing, maybe? I have these thoughts. That ignorance would have been bliss, even though I know that's the wrong way to think. We've had some fantastic insights in the comments, and now it's time to move on to our next captivating story. Get ready for another roller coaster of emotions. My mom, 47F, is exceedingly jealous of my 19F relationship with my stepdad, 57F, insinuating it's something more. I now worry it isn't normal. Throwaway, of course. Though there is a hefty amount of context, I will try only bring up what is most relevant to avoid a wall of text. But some things I cannot include due to sub-rules. I met my stepdad when I was 9 years old. A year prior, my biological dad passed away in an accident. Up until this point, every other major relationship of mine with an older man had been tarnished, and I had deep-rooted distrust or discomfort with men. This resulted from assault from two very close family. I believe this is important to note for later. It took a good deal of time to become comfortable and trust Step, but he's a very down-to-earth person who, though is scary in a grocery store, was very goofy and easy to get along with as a 9-year-old. He also had other daughters that encouraged me to trust him. Step has supported me consistently and been a really great father figure through award ceremonies, plays, breakups, my first guitar, teaching me how to drive, driving me to school every day, playing video games with me, my first job interview, prom, etc., etc. We were close. My point is, despite what happened to me, I put a lot of trust into Step and he always pulled through. I finally met a man who didn't use our relationship to get to me and hurt me, aside from my actual dad, which is why I feel revolted by it being insinuated to date him, or run off with him, or even have sex with him by my mom. This issue started 2.5 years ago, when mom had a volatile affair with a younger man. I mean a downright shit show. Drugs, debt review, writing off a Ford Ranger, ambulances, losing her job, rehab. We had to move to a different town, a brink of divorce. Through this, Step and I did become more close, and we still are now. My point is, the affair was messy, and it is still a point of arguments at home. Arguments that are met with, you are a tag team, the two of you. I am always the bad guy. I'll just leave and you two can be happy together. Go marry and live with her then. Remarks of SH, and on one occasion was plainly said, go make her your girlfriend and have. She has sat sobbing in front of me after arguments saying she is jealous of our relationship. This makes me feel awful. It makes me feel grimy, and honestly, it makes me feel very guilty. I feel awful that being close with a man can mean nothing but to be intimate, and that I put myself in this position again. Especially considered we do hug or he'll kiss me goodnight, or has a nickname Honey Bunny. I am beginning to question all affection. I also feel angry that I'm put on any plane of competiton or relationship of the same context as my mom with my stepdad. To me, they are completely different kinds of affection, and for it to be compared is disgusting. I feel ashamed that I may be entertaining something awful. I hate to see my mom cry, and I appreciate the relationship I have with my stepdad. Is my relationship with my stepdad normal? Is it healthy? Is it weird? Gross? Is this problem between my parents and not me? I worry I gross my friends out by speaking about this and would appreciate objective insight. Well, it seems like you've stumbled into the family dynamics roller coaster, and it's a wild ride. First things first, let's address the elephant in the room: your relationship with your stepdad. From what you've shared, it sounds like a healthy, supportive, and loving father-daughter bond. You know, the kind where you do normal family things like hug, share affectionate nicknames, and he helps you navigate the complexities of life. If anyone finds that gross, they clearly missed the memo on wholesome family connections. Now, let's shift our attention to your mom. Oh boy, the aftermath of a messy affair can turn any household into a battleground. And apparently, in this battlefield, you've become an unintentional collateral damage, caught in the crossfire of jealousy and accusations. It's understandable that you'd feel grimy and guilty about this. No one wants to be the unintentional center of a family feud, especially when it involves insinuations that you're the object of some bizarre competition. It's like being handed a script for a melodrama you never auditioned for. Here's the thing: your relationship with your stepdad is not the issue here. It's more of a pawn in the larger chess game of your parents' relationship drama. You're not the problem. Their issues are. As for feeling guilty about being close with a man, well, that's just society's attempt to sprinkle a little patriarchal discomfort on perfectly normal relationships. Hugging your stepdad and sharing affectionate nicknames, that's a Tuesday in the life of a supportive family. You're not entertaining anything awful. You're just living a life that feels right for you. It's that time again. We're transitioning to the community comments. User LazyMachine119. I don't see any odd relationship with your stepdad. To me, both of you have a healthy relationship. Your mother is only projecting their thoughts there. She thinks that your stepdad want to get laid with you because she did it with a young man. And I don't see that here. I think that he loves you a lot as a stepdaughter. User Rude, Entrance 3039. Your mom is projecting her insecurity and adultery onto you, and it's kinda gross. She's brought herself low in her infidelity and is now trying to bring the rest of you down to her level, so she's not the only one with mud in her teeth. Toxic people will do everything they can to make you feel like the good relationships in your life are wrong or bad. That way they can more easily control and manipulate you as you have fewer good relationships people to turn to. It's an alienation tactic, and your mom is a real piece of work for doing this. User Wildly Uninteresting. Your mom is just a broken person that is unfortunately selfish and toxic. Look at her judgment, choices, and behavior. Additionally, she is likely trying to hurt him too, wanting to remove your happy relationship from him. You need to distance yourself from her. She's not interested in your best interests. She's unhappy and wants you unhappy. It's petty, but that's her. As we wrap up this Reddit story, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more captivating Reddit stories. Your support means the world to me. I enjoy, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.